This is not a story of homophobia. It is not an opportunity to tearfully clutch a rainbow flag. This is a story about wars. The city of Orlando, this is why we're bringing this up now, is buying the Pulse nightclub where the 2016 shooting took place. The city will pay $2 million to the venue and turn it into a memorial. So why are taxpayer dollars going to buy this scene of the crime in order to turn it into a gay memorial? Basically, that's all about gay rights and diversity and that kind of thing. But is that memorial the real story of what happened at the Pulse nightclub? It is not. This is a fake story of homophobia. The media framed the Pulse shooting as a story of closeted, self-hating homophobe who did this shooting. It wasn't that at all that motivated the shooter. Here's the Eiffel Tower in 2016 in a rainbow design to honor the victims of the shooting in June of 2016. Here's a Guardian columnist. Take a look at this guy. He walked off Sky News because the host would not admit that this is homophobia.
This has to be called out for what it is. It was an intentional attack on LGBT people. This person,
on the freedom of all people to try and enjoy themselves as Bataclan.
No, I'm sorry. Can we just explain? You don't understand this because you're not gay, okay? So just
whether
listen.
I'm gay or not has no.
No, it does.
It has no reflection on the fact this person killed.
You have ownership of horror of this crime.
Can I just say,
because
I find this
I'm not Jewish and I'm not gay.
Excuse me. I've had enough of this. Let me go home.
Owen, genuinely, we're trying to have a civilised conversation.
I
know you're upset. You're upset,
I'm very upset.
I'm quite right. Everyone's upset and angry about this, but storming off a TV set.
Right. Well, I think we'll continue the press preview.
All right.
Wow.
Well, on CNN, they absolutely lost their voices screaming about hate crimes and homophobia and gay rights and how we really have to get into the heart of this matter. Stop homophobia. Well, not only was this not a story of homophobia, the Orlando nightclub shooter, Omar Mateen, did not care about gayness at all. That was not his motivation. He cared about the fact that the U.S. would not stop bombing the Middle East and wanted to avenge those war crimes. He was an extremist. His terrorism was motivated by revenge for the war crimes that the U.S. has enacted on the Middle East. Mateen was of Afghan heritage. He told hostages when he had them in that small room that his motive was to stop the U.S. from bombing his country, and he wanted the U.S. to, quote, stop bombing Syria and Iraq, and, quote, killing a lot of innocent people. That is the real story of the Pulse nightclub shooting. It has nothing to do with being gay. But guess what? That didn't stop the One Pulse Foundation from fundraising on this gay pride movement. I want to play a little About Us video. We're going to play a little bit and start and stop it. This is a nonprofit that raises money around the Pulse nightclub shooting. And then they tell you, what they think this story is about and what they do to educate the community about gay rights. Now, again, none of these people died because they were gay. They died because their own country wages war against other countries, and that motivates extremists to take revenge on innocent people. But watch this false narrative.
Pulse wasn't just a nightclub. It was a place where people could come to feel welcome. It didn't matter who you were, who you wanted to be. You felt loved. This is what Pulse is now.
It was really important to me that people learned not only the story of what happened at Pulse that night, but also what you can do differently in your life to change the future, how we can become a better society, a better human race.
So you see the imagery here, right? It's about, look at all the gay flags, look at how they're saying hate will not win, that this was a hateful act. Surely it was, but it wasn't about hating homosexuality at all. Let's keep playing it, and then there's a part in here where there's like a drag queen in some kind of like kiss mask face, and they say we're educating kids in order to make sure that they understand that gay rights are important and this doesn't happen again. Again, knowing that that's not the thing that motivated the shooter, but they're taking the opportunity to promote gay rights. So watch. Sorry, I interrupted.
We are building a national memorial museum. It's part of our country's history, and it's our responsibility to see to it that this story and that the 49 are never forgotten. These museums and memorials aren't built for years. They're built for centuries. And what we're doing is more than just a memorial museum.
So they're likening this to the 9/11 memorial. I'm just going to keep talking. Just keep playing it. Sorry.
Can we mute it?
All walks of life, but
yeah, there we go.
No, we don't have to mute it. Just let them talk, and I'll.
Family member, I said, I hope they turn this place into a museum.
The memorial is where you go to grieve, but the museum is where you go to learn.
I want people to come visit so they can take what happened here and pass it on.
I'm really excited about the educational opportunity of the museum and the wonderful things that the One Pulse Foundation is working on to build a stronger global community.
And my hope is that when they walk out, they've learned not only what happened on June 12th, but how to be a better human, that they will be able to spread the message that we will not let hate win. They will leave equipped how to do that.
The Intram Memorial now is built, and it's amazing.
The pictures that are on the barrier wall are of love and support and unity, but mostly you will see a community. A global community.
This is a magical place. It's always a rainbow. You'll see a cloud look like an angel.
Okay, so you get the idea of the fundraising around this and how it is meant to, they say, promote love. What they mean is, gay pride and diversity and all those kind of things. And it's completely ignoring the fact that those people died out of revenge for the war crimes that their country was perpetuating, right? They're pretending that he was homophobic. He wasn't, and I'm going to tell you more about that later. Look at the City of Orlando Mayor, Buddy Dyer, announcing today that the City of Orlando has approved the purchase to the Pulse site and going to ensure a permanent memorial. Look at the imagery here of the rainbow flags, the sort of women, I guess we're supposed to assume they're lesbians holding on to each other. I don't know if that's true, but it's still, again, rainbow empowerment is hit over the head with it, because in their mind, the shooter was anti-gay, and buying this nightclub is a chance for a gay pride memorial. But what it should be is an anti-war memorial, so that the rest of us don't have to, become a victim of extremists who are motivated by the war crimes of our own taxpayer dollars. What Mateen said when he held hostages inside the club was that he wanted bombing in Syria and Iraq to stop, and he wanted killing of innocent people to stop. Here is from Scott Horton's book about the post-9/11 wars. He points out what he put on Facebook and during the actual hostage crisis. He said, "You kill innocent women and children by doing us airstrikes. Now taste the Islamic State vengeance." That's terrifying. Tell America to stop bombing Syria and Iraq and killing lots of innocent people. What am I to do here when my people are getting killed over there? You get what I'm saying? You need to stop the airstrikes. Now, why did he choose a gay club? Because when the Justice Department tried to prosecute his wife, they found out that he originally had his sights set on Disney World. I shudder to think how awful that would have been, but he figured the security was too tight, so he just felt like, okay, this place, easy to get into, right? What's more, Orlando police waited outside the club for hours as people inside bled to death, and when cops finally did breach the wall, they opened fire and also killed civilians. So this 49 number, not all 49 were killed by Omar Mateen, and no one was ever held accountable for that. In fact, the shooter had subscribed to al-Nusra agendas. Well, who is al-Nusra? That is a terrorist group that the U.S. has funded since the Obama administration to attack the government in Syria. Obama called them moderates. This is not the work of a moderate. Obviously, this is a radicalized person. That was just Obama's propaganda for saying that we work with the sort of okay guys. Al-Nusra is sort of okay. They inspire attacks on civilians in nightclubs in response to drone strikes on innocent civilians in Syria and Iraq. Okay. And so maybe you're thinking, well, so what? It's nice to have a queer monument. It's nice to help people to be accepting of gay rights and, honor these people's lifestyle. The problem with that is it's a lie. Would you rather do something to prevent more terrorist attacks against America by stopping American attacks and telling your government, hey, when we attack other countries, people get radicalized and want to hurt us back. So maybe we stop that. Or would you rather hug a rainbow flag and think that you're virtue signaling for acceptance when then those people's deaths are in vain?
Could you imagine a memorial? It's a great question. Imagine an Orlando memorial at the site of the Pulse nightclub that had nothing to do with this propaganda, this, about it was a homophobic attack, and he targeted gay people on purpose, and he went to this club specifically. Instead, that memorial is not there. Instead, it's a total memorial about U.S. aggression in the Middle East. A whole memorial showing
this is how people become radicalized when we attack innocent civilians. And so we can only stop radicalization by stopping those attacks in the first place. It's a chicken or egg phenomenon, people.
Now, of course,
instead, we're choosing this fake story. So those people, to my mind, are screaming from the grave, you're not stopping this by hugging a rainbow flag tearfully. You will stop this by speaking out against war.
Now, of course, killing innocent people is no way to go.
No, I'm not saying that he did it. And I'm saying he became radicalized because we continue to support radicals.
Right.
Right? We support al-Nusra, and we continue to wage war in the Middle East. And so this radicalization is not just because the internet exists, it's because taxpayer dollars exist.
Right. And
he did the wrong thing because of his radicalization, and we support that group.
And $2 million, it would cost $2 million
to buy the club.
To buy the club and to do this whole memorial. So $2 million to buy it. The city of Orlando. People in Orlando are struggling big time with medical debt post-pandemic. Mm-hmm. There are people who, drowning in medical debt, actually, in Central Florida. So Buddy Dyer is happy to put up $2 million to buy this site of this Pulse nightclub.
Right. So if you live in that area and you drive by, and it will inevitably be full of, men in stilettos and thongs hugging rainbow flags tearfully, you will know that does nothing for the memory of these deaths. These people died because of radical revenge that we could prevent by not funding al-Nusra, by not waging wars in the Middle East.
Will part of the memorial, the museum, highlight the fact that not everyone who was killed that day was killed by him?
No, clearly not.
This is the kind of garbage clown world we live in.
But, if you go to this Pulse Nightclub Foundation, this One Pulse Foundation, it just seems comical because they're just all about
where do they get their money?
Donation. It's a donation-based foundation. So,
but I wonder who's their biggest
maybe you
donors.
can go there and say, hey, I want to give a big donation, but I want to donate, and you do a campaign about how this is actually should be an anti-war movement based on this violence and not gay rights. Can we do that? Maybe they'll take your money if you want to give that a try.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.